You were watching it going, I can't wait to get out there.
No, I was just itching to get on, try and score. That's what I did, so I'm happy.
And you did. An incredible moment for you. Your first Champions League goal. Talk me through it. It's a little deflection, but you'll take that, won't you?
Of course. I kind of just seen the ball just laying there, so I was like, let me just get onto it. Just hit it and then, yeah, went on.
How special is that a moment for you, being a Chelsea boy, being young as well, to score your first Champions League goal here in front of this crowd?
It's an amazing feeling ever since young, of 8 years old, to score in the Champions League. So it's what dreams are made of. It's good.
And also, you scored, Marc Guiu scored, and Estevao scored. Chelsea became the first club to have 3 teenagers score in a Champions League game. The future is bright at this football club, isn't it?
Definitely, you know, we're all young, having fun, that's it. Having fun on the pitch, that's it. So, yeah.
And obviously now it's Chelsea 4 wins in a row. Do you feel like the confidence in the group is building and building and building?
Definitely, we just want to keep growing, keep improving, keep getting wins.
Tyrique, congratulations, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, thanks.
Tyrique George with Olivia Buzaglo as we welcome viewers from TNT Sports 1 and 3 to our late night party here on 4. That's a good stat, isn't it? We heard from Sam in commentary. 3 teenagers, first in Champions League history, 3 different teenagers to score in a single match. Kicks, I think is that one for the kids? Kicks?
Teenage kicks.
Teenage kicks.
By the undertones.
That's actually one for the dads.
Not one for the kids, yeah.
yeah, actually. So full circle there. A smiling Farrah Williams, albeit obviously strictly impartial, but you're happy with the scoreline, aren't you?
Yes, it was a really good scoreline. 10 changes from the last game. And obviously I think the sending off definitely helped this Chelsea team. It was a young team. As I said, 10 changes doesn't make it easy coming into it, those connections and finding those connections, but got a goal, an early goal. We'll see it here, the opening
this is
goal.
the early sending off. It's
the sending off came in it, and obviously the goal come from this, but it was a definite red card. Initially it was given a yellow. Here, you just see it.
It's always the giveaway when you take a heavy
for Taylor,
touch.
But it was, I think, once you do a replay and you look in it slowed down, it looks like it does look
Happily
bad.
Buonanotte was okay from the free kick.
Yeah, it was Fofana gets it back in.
Guiu
gets the tap in at the
he's got a
the
good
far
knack, hasn't he? Been Johnny on the spot.
And
Marc
then
Guiu.
Caicedo, inverted fullback tonight he was and hits one. He's getting confident.
He is. That's
you can
4
see
for
the confidence that he has.
Some player,
with his performance, he is. And
some bit of everything, and he's kind of getting better, which is frightening, really.
Clumsy one from Tosin here, give away a penalty.
Yep.
But
clumsy from Tosin.
And he converted it. But I think Chelsea. Weghorst scores this, but I think the sending off, as I said, in terms of that control and that confidence for some of these younger players, and a penalty you see Weghorst again, he was involved in quite a lot actually.
A silly tackle
on
wet pitch and all that, but still.
Enzo, and then he puts it away. But
looks good on penalties, doesn't he, Enzo?
He does. He's comfortable,
missing,
and then you see
technique. He's always got good technique.
Estevao same, and again another silly penalty. Definite penalty.
And interestingly, he thought, I'll give this one to the youngster who's won it. Gave it to Estevao.
I like that because, as I said before, if you're a midfield player and you've got 7 goals with Enzo Fernandez, doesn't matter if you've got 8. The bigger picture is give it to Estevao.
Goal bonus? No.
I like the fact that he's given it to Estevao.
Good captaincy, isn't it?
I think
it's
so.
a captain's act, yeah.
And then Tyrique George.
And the youngster will appreciate that in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Good young player, him. Tyrique George. Played a lot of games in the conference last season.
What is he? Is he a winger? Is he a 10? Is he a 9? Does it matter?
He can play off the left. He can play 9. I think it's good to be versatile. Do you?
Yeah, he's versatile. I wouldn't know his position. I wouldn't know if it's a left that he's the strongest. I've seen him on the left in the Conference League last year a lot. He played the 9 a couple of times. He can score. He's more. I think he's got that energy. I think he can run behind. He hasn't quite got the physicality for a central number 9.
It's funny because they tried to sell him in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer. They tried to give him to, I think.
What, Chelsea selling players, buying players? What?
Did you miss that?
Yeah.
I think he could definitely grow into that number 9. I think, as he gets a little bit older and fills himself in a little bit, or fills up a little bit maybe, but I think he's a bit light to play in the 9 in a top team, for example. But definitely off that left-hand side, he has a bit about him. Does a bit much at times. Couple of remember Ronaldo at United, loads of step overs.
What happened to him?
And then he understood when and where, and I think that's what he's got a little bit of learning to do. But he's an exciting player.
This week, Premier League teams across the competition, aggregate scoreline 19-2.
Real show of strength, isn't it? And it's
flex.
It's the flex. Matt,
How many
you're
did
doing that a lot
today? How many did Spurs have?
She's chucked the Spurs one in there, hasn't she?
I just wanted to know how many they contributed to it.
Well, they didn't let me in, Farrah. Didn't let me in. She actually let one in.
I suppose it's partly, we were saying before, that a lot of the kind of middle-class European teams seem to have taken a step back. And I think that's just the bigger European teams are maybe taking a bit more of the talent.
Yeah.
But also the Premier League contingent this year is strong. I mean, there's more of them, which helps, obviously.
That does help.
There's a lot of Premier League teams in the Champions League. But they are the richest teams in Europe. Liverpool, Arsenal spent huge amounts of money this summer.
Yeah.
Chelsea like to buy the occasional footballer.
Yeah, and do you worry about the Benficas, the Ajaxes, the kind of previously, in the mix type European teams that are getting kind of swept aside?
They're both rock bottom, yeah.
Yeah, I'll admit I do. Yeah, I think it's better for European football if those countries have a healthy representative or two. I think you should watch Benfica and think, who's that midfielder? Who's that left winger? You should watch Porto or Sporting or even Olympiacos and think there's a couple of players there who would get into most teams.
There's a couple at Benfica. Saw them last night.
But bear in
I
mind
think it's Chelsea have already bought them.
Yeah.
But that, it's a Benfica would have, a couple of years ago would have had João Neves in midfield.
Yeah.
And you'd have looked at him and thought, okay, he is the next big thing. I'm not sure there's a next big thing.
Or an Enzo Fernandez.
Or Enzo. And it's because Real Madrid and PSG and the English teams, they're getting the players younger, which means Benfica don't get those couple of years out of them.
Yeah.
Where Chelsea return to action tonight against Ajax, who've lost both of their games so far. This is the Chelsea team, and it shows wholesale changes from the side that won at Nottingham Forest on Saturday. Obviously, there were a lot of changes at half-time in that game, but only Romeo Lavia keeps his place tonight, so it's 10 changes. Marc Guiu makes his first start of the season in attack. With João Pedro suspended. Ex-Ajax defender João Hato is also included. He starts at left-back. So that is the Chelsea team. Enzo Fernandez makes it a welcome return for them. And it looks like Moises Caicedo will be starting at right-back for them tonight. Wout Weghorst, by the way, starts for Ajax, who've not only lost both their games in the Champions League, they haven't scored a goal either. Thinking about Chelsea, 3-0 winners against Forest 2 at the weekend. Their third win in a row. Got a bit ahead of steam up now. You talk about games that could have been different at Anfield. This could have been very different. And actually, Ange Postecoglou might still have been in a job if Forest had taken some of those chances.
Yeah, well, you were actually watching it, weren't you, Clinton?
Yeah.
There was so many chances, wasn't there, for Nottingham Forest? And I think when you look at Chelsea, I think we've said, well, they've spent a lot of money. They've got a lot of young players, very talented young players, lots of potential. If they stay together, they grow together, they could be very successful. But I think we've all said they probably need to improve in the goalkeeper area. If you've got to have a top world-class goalkeeper, and I know he did very well in the Club World Cup and he pulls off some brilliant saves, but is he the top world-class goalkeeper that you need to go and challenge for the Premier League? And probably also similarly with a top-class centre-back as well. So, and I know again they've got injuries in that area, so there's still areas that they do need to develop in. But I think the fact that he did make changes, the changes were good, and they obviously came back and won the game because they had a bit of a makeshift midfield as well, didn't they? So whether that was due to the international break and he was resting players, brought them on and made the difference, and they won the game. But it could have certainly been different, couldn't it?
Yeah, and actually it's only a couple of weeks ago that we were sat in this very studio talking about his changes in other games when we said they're a bit overly cautious and defensive, particularly after having players sent off. So I suppose, Clinton, when you bear in mind he made that triple change at the weekend, Estevao wins the game against Liverpool having come on. Credit where credit's due, the changes he's making are making a difference now.
Yeah, they are, because before he was making terrible changes, and loads of us on there called him out. His changes were crazy when he went to Man United and they went down to 10. He took Neto on when you were
transformed in the second half.
Yeah, this was brilliant. Yeah, and this was brilliant. Ajipong and then Neto with the goal. But he brought on Gittins, he brought on Caicedo, who's one of the best midfielders around in the world at the moment. I'm so surprised he's playing right back, because why not play the young boy Ajipong there and put Caicedo in midfield where you're going to need him? But he can do a job anyway, Caicedo. I think he's outstanding. And yeah, credit Enzo Maresca, because we did give him a bit of stick. And his substitutions are working now. Tactically, he's getting it right. And he probably holds his hand up and says he's making a mistake, because he didn't have to make the changes. But Forest could have been 2 or 3-0 up in that first half. It wasn't working out. He made a triple change, and every one of those players made a big difference. So credit. We can sit on there sometimes and we criticise managers. And Tim will tell you as well, it is a hard job as a manager. It's hard. You've got a lot of things going on, especially at a club like Chelsea. You're under pressure. You've got to deliver. He spent a lot of money. So credit him with the substitutions he's made recently.
And one of the things he's got on his plate at the moment is questions being fired at him about discipline. Has he got a discipline problem within his team? 4 red cards in the last 6 games, including one at the weekend. Correct. Jamie, I'm coming to you for the discipline issue.
He is.
He was red carded himself, the manager, let's not forget, against Liverpool. Has he got a problem he needs to sort?
I mean, I would say 2 of them, the stats look like that. I mean, the one on the weekend is more conversation to go, use your head, mate. Come on. I mean, look at this, Jules. I mean, do you have to have like meeting after meeting or in training to say like you're 3-0 up? You don't get sent off there. The only thing I'd sort of caveat that with, which can be a little bit hard as a coach and a manager, is that you're asking your players to play at a certain intensity, and the bit I like about that is they're 3-0 up and he's bothering sprinting that hard and going back. You just got to use your head at times. I think he gets made into a discipline problem. He wants to play at a certain tempo. I just think there's individuals. It goes back to individual areas. You don't always need the coach to say what you're doing. You're a professional. You know the state of the game. 3-0 up. Come on, mate, do me a favour, because now everyone's saying we've got a disciplinary problem, where that's just an individual area, Jules.
And they had more cards than any other team in the Premier League last season as well, we should point out. He said after the latest one, Tim, I'm not the sort to punish my players. I have 4 kids. I try to teach them to do the right things. Are there similarities between parenting and managing a Premier League football team?
Yeah, many. Not for me. Not for me, because I've got 4 girls. But listen, the Gusto one, when I first saw that, I thought, mate, he must have a prior engagement at the weekend and he can't make the game, because that was stupidity at its finest. I mean, that was a horrendous decision for a professional footballer to make that decision. And he must feel like there's not that much competition for places. But Reece James will come in and take his place, and if he plays well, then he don't get another kick. Or is there no competition? That was an horrendous decision. The rest of them could be here, could be there, because 50-50 is his one. I quite liked when he ran down the touchline. I quite like the emotion of him showing it. And what I like about Enzo is, and I'll just get it in, going back to what we talked about, his decision making. He doesn't sit there and do nothing. He doesn't sit on his hands. He makes decisions. So he lives and dies by the decisions. And then in hindsight, we sit there and we can criticise them, but we also, like you quite rightly said, Jules, you have to give him the credit when he does the correct decisions, and he's getting it right at the moment.
But also,
they're challenging Chelsea.
Tim,
they're not going to win
how
it.
do you discipline a Premier League player at Chelsea?
By leaving him out.
Yeah, that's the only way. But you're trying to win games. You want your best players. So if they've been on a suspension after the case, like a red card, he's missed 3 games, what you can do, leave him out as a punishment for another 3 when you need him to win games. Managers don't have enough time now to punish players, and you're certainly not going to punish him financially.
No. Right, I need to crack the whip now. We need to move on. Thank you very much indeed.